Hey everyone, Michael from Cohen Web Design here, and in this video we're just going to go over domain names and everything you got to know about domain names. So without further ado, let's go right into this. So getting started, what is a domain name? So to answer this question, we're going to take a look at this slide right here. So a domain name is simply the accessible name that people type into their address bar up top in order to get to your website. So every single domain name must be unique, all right? So if you're going to youtube.com, that's only one website. There's no youtube.com. There's no alternative youtube.coms. If there was, it would have to be youtube1.com or youtube2.com or anything like that, any other name. So every single domain name is unique to start off. So also the label part, so the part before the period, that can be up to 63 characters, but that's a little crazy, as we'll get into later. A little bit crazy. Domain name is made up of the label, so this is a domain name is that label, and then it's made up of an extension, which is like .com, .org, etc. You can have numbers, you can have dashes, and alphanumeric characters. So in short, easy definition is that a domain name is whatever the visitors type into their address bar. So whatever they type in, that's the domain name. So choosing your domain name is incredibly important, just like choosing your business name or anything like that. You really have to put some thought into it and think about what is, the best domain name for you. So the name matters and the formatting, right? You don't want to have random numbers or anything like that. So let's see right here. So if I owned a hotel chain, maybe I'm thinking of like Michael-Cohen-Cozy-Hotels1.com. So, maybe I'm thinking I'll get my name in there, some descriptors, and the hotel. And then I'm like, let's actually break that down a little bit. Let's get rid of that number. Don't know why I thought about using a number. It's not really useful here. So let's get rid of that. But then I realize, it's a lot to type. So let's get rid of the dashes. I don't need the dashes. Oh, well, that's still pretty long. Let's get rid of my first name. And then we're down to CohenCozyHotels.com. Not too bad, but we don't really need that cozy part. We can give that off later on our website, give a cozy feel. So instead, we settle on CohenHotels.com. Nice and easy to remember. You can kind of see the difference here. Quite the difference there. So in order to choose the right domain name, let's look at some facts and some opinions, right? So I have my own opinions, as does everybody else, but let's go into the facts. So the facts is the more simple and the shorter it is, the better. Everyone's pretty much on the same page with that. Mostly everybody's on the same page with avoiding dashes. It's mainly just a problem causer. Some people forget the dash. You really just want to avoid dashes wherever possible. Another thing is use numbers only when it makes sense, right? So if you have a number in your name, that's fine. So if your name is number1custodian.com, that's fine if that's the name of your business, if that's how people know you. Otherwise, avoid numbers if it just doesn't make sense. So last thing here is avoid those niche domain extensions. So you might see some websites where it's like .life, .world, .tech. You really want to avoid those. A lot of people won't remember them, especially, growing up in the older generation, it was the .com. Everyone knew .com. So it's going to be like that for a long time. .com kind of runs the game there. And that's in the opinions area. So you really want to choose .com or .org mostly. Obviously, if you're an educational institution, .edu, that's fine, but that's protected, which we won't really get into here. So another opinion is you want to try to keep it between 8 and 14 characters. And the reason for this is psychological studies have been done where this is the sweet spot for remembering the domain name. If it gets higher than this, people start to forget. So this is what people have found is a really, really good range to be in. Another opinion of mine is just don't use .net. It's good for like network operations, but that's basically it. A lot of people will not benefit from using .net. So in order to brainstorm for your domain name and choose the right one for you, there's a few things I can recommend here. And the first one is to come up with a list, just an intuitive list of what you think sounds good. And maybe come up with 3 to 5 of them so you don't get your hopes up. And once you have that list, you can check to see if they're available. Now, we have the ICANN right here. They basically run the web and make sure that people are registering correct domain names. So you can go to lookup.icann.org. You can type in a domain name, And if it's taken, you're going to see that that domain name has some information associated with it. So unfortunately, I can't register cohenhotels.com. Somebody already did that, which is fine. So we'll just have to brainstorm a little bit. So ultimately, in the end, this is the goal that you want. You want to get the requested domain was not found in the server. That's ideal because that means that your domain name is available. So this is what you want to see after going to lookup.icann.org and typing in that domain name. This is the ideal scenario. So then the final step is registering your domain name. So I handle this situation whenever I work with clients on website development. This has already been done, but just in case you want to do it yourself, we use Namecheap or Google Domains. Those are the two that I highly recommend. Other places like GoDaddy and Network Solutions have a lot of problems. Their reputation has gone downhill, and the reason why you've heard of them is because they dump so much money in advertising, so they're just the go-to. But Namecheap and Google Domains are super cheap. They're super trusted in the industry. You're only going to be paying within $10 to $15 per year, anywhere in that range, sometimes even less. So you really want to go with these two. They're pretty legendary in the industry. So that was all you need to know about domains. And once you watch this video and understand about your domain name, this can help you in the future in case you ever want to register new domain names. For example, registering duplicate domain names in case you want to like branch out, maybe franchise or anything like that. You can start to get more branding. So the next video I'll produce is Hosting 101, so understanding what a web host is. You have the domain name down, now you need the host. So stay tuned for that.